The simple reason why pro colorists can grade in half the time as opposed to beginners is because they grade in batches instead of like shot-to-shot basis. In this video, we will grade 2 separate scenes, multiple shots with distinct looks, and you will get access to the footage if you just follow the link in the description. All I ask in return is you smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and let's get into it. So now we're inside Resolve and we're working with these 4 clips, all shot on Blackmagic RAW, 2 different scenes, okay? So we have to make sure that they shot match well, and then we're gonna do a grade on top of it. So first, let's convert this from log to Rec 709 so we can start seeing what we're working with. The client told us that for this sequence, they wanna create a warm monochromatic look. And then for this one, they're going for a traditional teal and orange, more of like the Matrix sci-fi twist, how it would be done in 2024, that sort of thing. So the first thing that I'm gonna do, I'm gonna grab these clips that belong to the same scene. I'm gonna right click and I'm going to click right here, add into new group, and I'm gonna give it a name. So this is Future Office, things that happen later down the road in the movie. This is Present Office. So I'm gonna grab these clips and I'm just gonna call it Office. Okay, so why did I group clip these? We are trying to consolidate the steps that we're going to take to get from log to Rec 709. So now if I go to my pre-clip, by the way, if you're not aware of group clipping, I have an entire video, sort of like a 101 on group clips. Check it out, link to that is gonna be in the description. So now I'm here. I'm gonna drop my color space transform, my nose shot in Blackmagic RAW. So let's go ahead and select appropriate settings. So I'm gonna select Blackmagic Design Wide Gamut Gen 4.5 for color space. And then here, I'm going to select our Film Gen 5, okay? Here, I'm gonna do DaVinci Wide Gamut and DaVinci Intermediate because I like to work in my DaVinci Wide Gamut working color space. And then down here, we're gonna drop color space transform in our post clip. And then we're going to select DaVinci Wide Gamut because basically all the changes that we're going to make to our individual clips, I want those to be done in DaVinci Wide Gamut working color space. If, again, you're kind of confused on that part, I have another color management 101 video that you guys can check it out. And then for outer color space, we're going to select Rec 709. And here we're going to do Gamma 2.4. So as soon as we do that for these clips, now we have our proper Rec 709 conversion done. Okay, so now I'm looking at it and it actually doesn't look too bad. What I do see when I look at my waveform and my vector scope is that it is leaning a little bit toward yellow and red in this quadrant. So then if we want to fix that, I can just go in my clip because I want to make these changes on an individual level. I want to balance my shot. I want to make sure that the color balance, the temp tint looks good. I want to make sure the exposure matches between the 2 shots. And I want to make sure the contrast matches between the 2 shots because you'll be surprised how many times if you have the same settings, same everything on your camera, but you shoot a tight shot on somebody and then you go to a wide shot like that, it's just not going to feel the same. It already doesn't feel the same. And you can even see it in our vector scope and in our waveform. Everything is way more yellow and warmer compared to this shot. So keeping that in mind, we're just gonna use the technique that I showed you a few videos ago. I'm gonna click on my node, go under gamma and set it to linear and then change my luma mix to 0. And if you are not familiar with this technique, video is gonna be in the description, check that out. And the whole reason why we do that is because everything done in linear color space is very natural. It's like how our eyes perceive colors and exposure. So that's why we're using this. We're gonna get the most natural response and in the fastest time possible. And let's try that out. So I'm in my gain and I'm basically looking at my vector scope and I just want to grab this and kind of bring it in. Like even something like that. I don't want to overdo it, but even that just takes out the sting from the back. And if I look at my colorized waveform, it's looking pretty clean. Now let's go in that shot and try to do the same exact thing here. So it's pretty simple. I'm going to right click. I mean, we can even just do copy, paste. So we start there, but I feel like we got to do a little bit more because this is like really clean. This is more on the green side and we can see it in our colorized waveform. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to keep bringing it here a little bit. And now if I go between the 2, it's starting to look pretty good. And I feel like I'm just looking at right here and then I'm looking at right here. And I think this is a much closer match. So this is looking a lot better. And then one thing that I want to do with this shot I feel like the exposure can come up a little bit. So I'm just going to go in my linear gain and I'm going to raise it up a little bit. And I'm going to go between these two. And they are starting to look pretty good. They're starting to look pretty good. Like if I just play it from here to this shot, it's looking really, really good. So our balancing is done. Our exposure is done. Our contrast is looking pretty good. But sometimes contrast will reveal itself after you start creating a look. So now we're stepping into that part, okay? And that's why, guys, in order in which you go and attack all of this when it comes to color grading, setting up a proper workflow is so important, because look how easy it is when you go bam, bam, bam. Conversion, balance, then we are going into our look. So what's happening here is that the client wants a monochromatic, warm look. So we have to take the entire image into that world, into that quadrant. And the way that I'm going to do that is by using our offset. So I'm just going to use my offset. Now, why am I using this offset and not linear offset or whatever? It's because I actually want to inject some color on my low end, so then the entire image moves into that world, and then I'm going to selectively pull that back. So you're going to see what I'm talking about. So let's go in our offset and add that warmth. So let's go kind of crazy to like how far we want to go, to like something like this. And if I do before and after, I mean, this is pretty crazy. And the reason why we're applying it in our post group clip, because we want these changes to come through on all of our shots. And I kind of like how it just gets in there too, like in our shadows. But now at this point, what I want to do is I want to go in my log wheels right here, and I want to kind of pull that red out just a little bit, because I feel like it's getting a bit much. And the way I'm going to do that is in my shadows, like literally in my reds, I'm going to pull that back a little bit, not too much. I'm going to then add a little bit more blue in here, so you're seeing what we're doing. And that started to look pretty stylized, because like we're getting this very interesting color in the shirt. And if I do before and like look at the shirt right here, and then if I do after, you see how we're creating this sort of separation, which looks so freaking choice, so good. Like I'm just loving it. I'm actually getting excited. And it just opens up the entire image and makes it so dynamic. So again, if I do before, just keep your eyes right here. And you see all this, and then after. But then we're not hitting you in the face with like complementary colors. We're not necessarily doing that. And at this point, we can take advantage of DaVinci Resolve's latest features by using color slice. So what I can do here is something like where I can just go, all right, let's start with our greens. And what if I couldn't just like take the saturation of our yellows, actually, my bad, and we pull it back a little bit and we do something like that. So then the effect is very subtle. What if we try to do the same thing with the skin tones too and just kind of dial it back a little bit, not too much. And we create this really classy look. And now if I go to these shots and if I park it right here, and if I go to Rec 709, which looks like this. So this is our Rec 709 because our log would be this. So this is our Rec 709. And then this is the look that we're creating. It's a very mature yet very soft and subtle look. It doesn't hit you in the face. Okay. And then another thing that I would want to do, the one thing that you have to do always is creating some sort of like a film curve or S curve using your custom curves right here. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and basically lock in like where my skin is. I don't want to change that. A lot of people call that your 18% gray, like where you want to keep your skin in a sweet spot, and then you want to lock that part on the curve, and then you want to make adjustments on the top and the bottom end without affecting the actual exposure of that sweet spot for your skin tones, or if you're shooting a car commercial, your car, your product, whatever have you. So here I can just click right here, and that's going to be around in this area. Okay. And now what I want to do is actually want to have a little bit more fun. So I'm going to keep it somewhere around here. I want to raise this up a little bit, not too much. And then I want to create another point like that. And I want to kind of bring it in to something like that. And guys, even if I just do before and after, like you can see how subtle and how beautiful this effect is. Now, this effect can be done on this layer. Like, so you can do it. I'm saying layer. This effect could be done on this node. I mean, Jesus, like I haven't used Final Cut 10 and Premiere Pro or Final Cut 7 in ages, or even Avid, and I'm still calling it a layer. This is funny. This effect can be done right here, but if you want a little bit more control to just like know what is that one thing that I did to my curve making that difference? You can actually just do it in a separate node. So we can create that then here on this node right here. So let's just say if we try to do the same thing and I like lift it up to somewhere around here, and then I start doing this, right? And now I can start to see the actual thing that I'm doing to my curve, right? And let's just say, like, I really, really like how much depth we get in our shadows and how the skin tones just pops from the background. And then on the top end, we can do a similar thing without like really hitting you in the face. So even if I do something like that, you're seeing like how much of a 3D we're adding to our image compared to what we had. And now if we go to Rec 709 and we come in here, we can see like we're making a very, very interesting image. And then obviously the best thing about the curve is that we can just constantly go back and forth and modify it and kind of pull it back if we want to. So even something like this, which I very much like. And now that change is applied here as well. And now if I take these two and if I do on and off, we ended up with like a very, very interesting look. Like, look at this. So now this shot is done. Obviously, I'm commentating. I'm kind of taking you through it. So it's taking as long as it is. But now you're seeing like how I didn't have to have like 500 nodes and go all crazy to create something like that, right? Because how this film was shot, it was shot so well. And most of the time, if you're working with like good DPs, not even high-end DPs, because now knowledge is accessible for free everywhere. So if you're working with a DP that just kind of knows what's going on, like they're gonna shoot in a way where you don't have to do 500 windows and basically fix it in post. Mindset doesn't really apply here. Now let's move on to this shot. So similar to what we did there. So now we can just go here, copy this, steal like, you know, our other scenes homework basically, and go here and take this and go here and paste it. So now we have our proper log to Rec 709 conversion happening. So the first thing I want to do, let's just balance our image a little bit. It's like leaning in the similar quadrant as like this. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to go under gamma, change that to linear. I'm going to kill my Luma mix. And what I want to do is nothing super crazy. But even if basically I'm looking at the clock and I think it's starting to look not bad. So this is looking pretty good. This is looking pretty good. So let's just say if I want to keep it here. Guys, always remember one thing. Respect the environment. So like when you're balancing your shots, don't just like go overboard, because always remember like what kind of lights were they under? So if they're actually under fluorescent warm lights, they're gonna lean a little bit toward that green and all that. So like don't pull that out, because then you're gonna just pull the character, strip the character of like the actual scene. Okay, so that's another very important thing. Now when I go from this shot to this shot, it looks like this shot is just a little bit brighter than this shot right here. So what I want to do then is I want to go in my gain and I want to pull this up a little bit. And now if I go from here to here, they're starting to look pretty good. I'm just looking at my dude right here, my main guy. And for close-ups, there's always more love. There's always more punch. So anytime, whether you're listening to me or any other colorist, they're always going to talk about if you think about Mad Max interview with Eric Whip that I did, like they'll always talk about when they go to close-up shots, they just add a lot more punch and they basically raise the exposure a little bit from like wide shots. So then we really just are drawn to whatever they want to show us. So that's why I didn't want to like basically bring him down in this shot. I wanted to bring this shot up. So then I don't lose that punch that I'm getting in this shot. Okay. And now we're starting to look pretty good. I mean, the rest of it is looking pretty good. I feel like I can even bring it up a little bit more. Let me go here. This looks good. I feel like contrast-wise, this has a little bit more contrast than this shot. So then in that case, what I want to do is I want to click right here. I want to type in 335, which is going to lock in my 18% gray, especially when you're working in DaVinci Wide Gamut. If you don't know what I'm talking about, the contrast video has the answer. Link is in the description. And then what I want to do here is I want to start like just cranking the contrast a little bit, not too much. So now if I go from here to here, I think maybe we've gone too far. So let's pull back a little bit. And this is looking much better. This is looking a lot closer, okay? So I'm gonna just, for now, leave it right here. And our balance is done. Exposure is done. Contrast is looking good. We're going into the second phase. And let's just keep it right here for this. And then I'm gonna go ahead and create a node right here. I'm gonna create another node right here. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to create split toning using my custom curves. So that is like the most traditional way to create like your teal and orange. And once again, what we learned from the last shot that we worked on, we're going to lock in our 18% gray. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to punch in here. I'm going to click right here to lock that 18% gray. And then what I want to do is I want to, first of all, work on my actual overall contrast. So I'm going to raise this up a little bit like this. And then I'm going to start creating something like that. And I'm loving how I'm getting these super nice matte shadows. And then on the top end, I don't want to do anything crazy. So even that is really, really nice. I mean, right there, we're ending up with like a really fun look. So now I'm going to break this chain and we're going to create that teal and orange. So I'm going to click right here and I'm just going to take this point right here and I'm going to drag it down a little bit. Okay. And see, it's like locking in. It's not messing with my skin tones and it's only adding like that, the matrix teal, like down here and like down there. You see like how it separated it. And then what I'm going to do is, do I have to like raise that up a little bit up here? Not a lot, but it does help. And then in the yellow, I'm actually going to pull this down because what that's going to do is that's going to give me this sort of like milky, like cream color right here that looks really nice, even in the shirt. And then here, I want to raise it up a little bit, not too much. So even something like that. Then I want to go into my greens. And then what do I want to do in my greens? I want to kind of like raise them up, something like that. And then down here, I kind of want to keep my greens like that because then like I just have like a very mature teal going on down here. It doesn't look like amateurish. Like, look at this. This is looking really, really clean. Okay. And this is happening with how gentle we were with our changes. And like, look at how much separation we created from his skin, hair, and then the background. Now, at this point, we're still not like where we want to actually go, which is going to happen right here. I'm going to right click. I'm going to turn this into linear. I'm going to kill this again. And this time we want to just get like those matrix greens in there, right? So like I'm going to take this and I'm going to start just going there. Okay. Now, if I go somewhere around like that, and we go to this matrix world, like these changes, like right here that we made, and those like colors that we brought in, that's what really adds and separates. Like, see how the skin is separated, but then like there's warm colors and cooler tones are coming in. Like without it, we would have never gotten there. And now what we're getting is something that's just like very cool and mature. And obviously we can go to the matrix and we can look at like some examples, like even something like this. And we can see like this is without even looking at it, like how we just created like a very fun twist on the matrix. Now, creating looks from scratch can be daunting, as you saw right here. But with Qt, you can achieve high-end looks in minutes by moving a few sliders. Best part, every parameter has a guardrail, so no matter how far you push it, you're not going to break your footage. It's beginner friendly, and because I love you, I'm throwing in a 15% off for YouTube fam only. Special link is gonna be in the description below, so check it out. Let's get back to the video. And now at this point, what we can do is we actually can start bringing it closer so it's not so crazy. And then maybe we can just like dial back on the saturation a little bit. And now if we go here and here and what we ended up actually creating, and if I just go to our X709 now, and then we go to like our sophisticated look. Now, how does it cut in? It cuts in beautifully. So I go from here to here and it cuts in so well. I mean, at this shot, what I can do now is we need a window. This is where we need to control our environment a little bit. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to create a window. I actually am a really big fan of custom shapes. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to create a shape like this. And I just kind of want to do this. Okay. And then I want to just like feather it out. And what I want to do is simply, I just want to go under my gamma and I want to pull it down a little bit, nothing crazy. And I just want to really feather it out. At that point, I don't even have to like move it. See, I can just like leave it where it is. and it's going to give me what I'm looking for. I can go in power window and see what's happening, and I can just hold shift and move these like right here. And it's soft enough where it's just going to blend in and it's not going to be a problem. So if I loop it and play it through, like it's going to be fine, right? It's totally fine. But then at that point, like we've really, really brought this down and put our focus on our guy. And now that I'm looking at these images, like, can we actually do a little bit more with our contrast? I think that it really blends in with the soft vibe that we're going for all of it. So I would actually just want to leave it right here. But I do think that what if individually we go here and we just add a little bit more contrast here? So 0.335, and then we go under contrast and we do even just something like that. And now we go between this shot to this shot. And I think it just like really puts more emphasis on his eyes and on his face. And that's where my eye goes. And guys, just look at it, right? How simple this was. Like just 2 nodes right here, creating a look which applied to both shots effortlessly because we had already done our homework right here in this stage. Okay. And then everything needed something different. So like here, we had to create a window to kind of pull this down and bring more attention to him. Like create what needs to be created out of necessity, not necessarily because you should, because this is what's going to earn you the top dollar. Because most of the grades that I've created in my entire life, I mean, even if you go to my website and you look at the look that I created for this ADIDAS ad that I worked on, these are some of the simplest work that I've done. And we got there. Same thing with like, you know, the Connie and Drake project that I worked on. And stuff that I've done for VIZIO, stuff that I've done for Genesis. Like these things did not take rocket science. And when you look at those images, they look absolutely stunning because the foundation is there, the process is proper. And then when you get there, you just give the client what they want. Like listen to their needs and then give them exactly that. And you're gonna have like clients for life. I really hope you found this video helpful. And if you did, please do me a favor and smash the like button so it can reach more people. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon so you can be notified about future content. If you have specific recommendations for the type of topics I should cover in my future videos, drop them in the comment section below. Also, here's what you should watch next. That's it. I'll see you in the next one. Much love, fam. Peace.